a WikiVidi Documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Celebrity Jeopardy! Saturday Night Live. Celebrity Jeopardy! Is a series of sketches that aired regularly on the television comedy/variety show Saturday Night Live between 1996 and 2002, the years when Will Ferrell was a cast member. It parodies the same-named special event on the television quiz show Jeopardy! That features competition between notable individuals, with all winnings going towards charitable organizations, and significant reductions to the game's level of difficulty. 15 sketches aired between December 1996 and February 2015, 2 sketches per season from 1996 to 2002, when Ferrell was a regular on the show, and 1 each in 2005 and 2009, when Ferrell returned to the show as host. The sketch was revived for the Saturday Night Live 40th anniversary special on February 15, 2015. Ferrell portrays Jeopardy! Host Alex Trebek. Darrell Hammond also appeared in each sketch, usually portraying Sean Connery, in an impersonation that often questions Trebek's sexuality and sometimes implies that he has known Trebek's mother in a carnal sense. Norm Macdonald appeared as Burt Reynolds in 6 sketches. Jimmy Fallon also appeared 6 times, each time portraying a different character. On several occasions, Celebrity Jeopardy! Sketches have been referenced during actual episodes of Jeopardy! Sketch. The sketch begins at the start of the Double Jeopardy! Round. Trebek welcomes the audience, introduces the celebrity contestants, and reveals their scores, which are either $0, a negative score, or a very low positive score. Many times, the contestants refuse or fail to select an appropriate category and dollar value from the game board, grinding the game to a halt and often requiring Trebek to choose one himself. As the celebrities' growing ineptitude became apparent, the subject matter used for categories shifted from normal topics to more childish topics, categories with titles giving not-so-subtle hints as to the correct response without reading the clues, and those requiring no responses whatsoever. Recurring Jeopardy! Category, Potent Potables, appears in every sketch, but is never selected, and when it finally is chosen, it results in an inadvertently offensive pre-recorded video daily double involving Bill Cosby. Instead of buzzing in with the correct questions, contestants either give horribly incorrect responses or say things that have nothing to do with the game, frustrating Trebek, who does nothing to hide his contempt for the celebrity's performance. Trebek's mood is also exacerbated by Connery's pranks and antics, which include making sexual jokes at Trebek's expense, deliberately misreading or vandalizing the categories on the board to turn them into sexually suggestive phrases, and implying that he has had sexual relations with the host's mother. Trebek eventually grows exasperated with his inability to conduct the show and cuts it short by moving to Final Jeopardy! He either discards the scripted category in favor of a much easier task, or announces a childishly simple category. Even though it appears impossible for the celebrities to fail, they invariably do. Connery occasionally provides a correct response, yet uses his wager to transform the text into a rude phrase. Sometimes Connery appears to have sympathy for Trebek until the wager reveal, which happens to be a rude drawing at Trebek's expense. On an earlier sketch, this is also performed by John Travolta, who in response to a clue asking the celebrities to name their favorite food, responds with miso, an actual soup, yet when Trebek asks for the wager, reveals it to be horny, which is read as miso horny. Trebek is the beleaguered straight man, and is generally the only person on stage interested in the game. The contestants, who are either unaware of what the game is, or uninterested in playing, will ramble incoherently, deliver irrelevant monologues, or openly antagonize the host. Whenever a contestant takes the game seriously, he or she proves utterly incapable of supplying the correct question. No contestant ever offers a correct response. However, 2 come close: Phil Donahue and Tony Bennett, who in their respective sketches offer descriptions for The Holiday of Christmas and The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. When Reynolds, who had initially been the celebrity who appeared on each episode, makes his return appearances, he misreads categories in the same manner as Connery and insists that he be addressed as Turd Ferguson, because he finds that name funny. At the end of almost every sketch, All three celebrities have scores in the negative thousands of dollars, and in most cases, a humorous, often sexual, Final Jeopardy! Punchline is delivered by Connery. In one of his sketches, Reynolds is declared an unquestioned winner, even though he wins simply because he has the least amount of negative money, rather than actually earning a victory. When Trebek ends the show, he either states that money will not be awarded to charity or announces his intention to resign or commit suicide. SNL cast members. A typical Celebrity Jeopardy! Sketch featured 3 cast members plus that week's host as a third contestant. The 13th edition of the sketch featured 3 members of the SNL cast as the 3 contestants, and Ferrell, now hosting, reprising his role as Trebek. The episode with Connery, Ozzy Osbourne, and Martha Stewart featured cast members in all 4 roles. SNL hosts. 13 of the 15 sketches included the episode's host, usually as a contestant. The 10th sketch was one of 2 not to feature a host, as it was part of an SNL primetime special that did not feature a guest host. The 40th anniversary special also did not have a host. Both Ferrell and McDonald were previous cast members who reprised their Celebrity Jeopardy! Role upon their return. Background: Norm Macdonald was inspired to create the first Celebrity Jeopardy! After noting how much easier the questions on the real-life Celebrity Jeopardy! Were compared to regular episodes. A fan of the sketch series SCTV, McDonald acknowledged that his concept would be substantially the same as Half-Wits, a recurring sketch on SCTV in which Eugene Levy played a parody of Trebek. Exasperated by the incredibly dumb contestants on the program, McDonald called Levy and secured permission to co-opt the premise of the sketch. During the May 2007 special Saturday Night Live in the 90s, Pop Culture Nation, McDonald said he created the Celebrity Jeopardy! Sketch purely as an excuse to do his Burt Reynolds impersonation. He purposely chose to make Reynolds an anachronism, appearing on stage as if Reynolds was still the same age he was in 1972. McDonald also claims that Reynolds was a fan of the sketch, and that there were talks to do a sketch where the real Reynolds would crash the game and punch out McDonald. Reynolds would then play the remainder of the game, with his responses being even dumber than McDonald's. However, McDonald was fired from SNL before that sketch could be written. The host and contestants are played as caricatures of their real-life personalities. Hammond said that, while his initial Connery impression was as accurate as possible, it would eventually morph into a bastardization of the actor, which audiences, and Hammond himself, found far more entertaining. Though Trebek shaved his trademark mustache in 2001, Ferrell retained it as long as he played the character. Even in the 12th sketch, Ferrell's last episode as a cast member, when a clean-shaven real Trebek made a cameo at the end. Impact. Jeopardy! Host Alex Trebek has mentioned his admiration for Will Ferrell's impression of him in interviews. Trebek also stated that during every taping of the show, he is asked by one of the audience members if he liked Ferrell's impression, and always replies that he does. On several occasions, Celebrity Jeopardy! Sketches have been referenced during actual Jeopardy! Episodes. In the May 19, 1999 Celebrity Jeopardy! Episode, the Jeopardy! Round featured the category, S-words, and the Double Jeopardy! Round featured, swords, in the same column. During the September 5, 2001 episode, the Double Jeopardy! Categories were, Sean Connery, Surprise Me, Trebek, Therapists, Things You Shouldn't Put in Your Mouth, The Number After 2, and Rhymes with Dog. The June 27, 2006 show featured the category, Japan-US Relations, which had been misread by Connery as Japanese Relations. In the November 8 and 16, 2006 Celebrity Jeopardy! Episodes, categories included, Surprise Me, Trebek, and Answers That Start with February, respectively. Notably, Martin Short competed on the November 17 episode of that year, becoming the only person to compete on both the real and SNL versions of Celebrity Jeopardy! On the November 23, 2009 show, the categories in the Jeopardy! Round were, SNL Celebrity Jeopardy! States that end in Hampshire, What Color is Green? Current Black Presidents, Sounds That Kitties Make. and Twinkle Twinkle Little Word That Rhymes with Star. A May 15, 2015 Celebrity Jeopardy! Featured The Pen is Mightier, a category about famous authors and their books. And on September 16, 2015, a contestant who did not know the actual answer jokingly guessed the love ballad of Turd Ferguson during Final Jeopardy! Saturday Night Live continues to include Jeopardy! Parodies. A recurring such parody introduced in season 39 is Black Jeopardy!, which reimagines the show as one targeted toward African Americans. The same Jeopardy! Set is used. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?